The missing girl. The ad was simple. No pictures, no details, just a line that said babysitter needed, cash paid, daily, quiet house on edge of town. Maya was broke between jobs and drowning in bills, so she replied. An old man answered, told her to come. By that evening, said his granddaughter needed watching. He sounded tired, not creepy, just worn out. She hesitated, but desperation whispered louder than fear. At 7:30, Maya stepped out of the rideshare into silence. The house stood alone beyond. A line of dead trees with peeling white paint and windows too dark to see through. No porch light, no sound, not even a dog barking. Her phone buzzed. Come inside, the door is open. She pushed the door slowly inside. It smelled like dust and something. Old, maybe spoiled milk or rusted iron. Hello, she called, her voice too loud. No answer. A stairway led up and a hallway stretched to the left, but on the couch near the fireplace sat a girl. Child looked about 6, maybe 7, thin, wearing an oversized hoodie. She didn't speak, just stared at Maya with wide gray eyes, too wide, too empty. Maya bent down. Hey sweetie, where's your grandpa? The girl blinked, then whispered he went to get food. Maya sat awkwardly across the room watching the fire burn low. The silence was heavy, like the house didn't like being disturbed. She tried making small talk, but the girl didn't respond, not even a nod. After 20 minutes, Maya's unease began to grow. She texted the old man, no reply, then another. Hour passed. She stood to leave, but the girl suddenly whispered, he said you'd stay the night. Maya froze. No one said anything about staying over. Her pulse quickened, but she forced a smile. Maybe just until he returns. Okay. That's when she noticed the dust thick on the floorboards, except in one place leading upstairs, like someone had been walking there recently, back and forth. She followed the trail, her shoes making soft creaks on the wood upstairs. The hallway was cold, darker. She reached the end where a door stood ajar. Inside, a bedroom, clean and neat, a photo frame on the nightstand. It was the same girl, but with another woman who looked like Maya. Same eyes, same smile. But this woman was older, and the date on the photo said 1994. That can't be right, Maya whispered. She stepped back, heart hammering. Suddenly the door slammed shut behind her. She ran down the stairs, breath ragged. The girl was no longer on the couch, instead standing by the front door facing it, still and silent. Like a doll waiting to move, Maya called out, hey, this isn't funny, where's your grandpa? The girl didn't turn. She just said he said you wouldn't believe it until it was too late. Maya backed away toward the kitchen, trying to find another exit. Her phone had no signal, not even emergency calls worked. She opened a drawer, searching for a knife, but all she found was paper. Old yellowed sheets full of names and dates. At the top it said applicants, babysitters. Her name was there, written in shaky handwriting, dated today. Behind her the girl said softly, they always run, but they never leave. Suddenly, Maya felt a cold breath on her neck. She turned, but no one was there, just the hallway stretching into shadows. The girl laughed, not a child's laugh, but something deeper, older, like it had lived through centuries. Maya whispered, who are you? Child's eyes gleamed silver in the firelight. She smiled for the first time and said, you'll know soon. Then the front door slowly creaked open by itself, revealing only darkness beyond the whispering room. Maya stood frozen as the door opened wider and the wind outside howled like it had a voice of its own. The girl did not move, just kept staring at the black space beyond the door, as if something waited outside but could not enter. Maya's legs finally unlocked, and she grabbed her phone. Still no signal. Her fingers trembled as she backed toward the kitchen, hoping for another way out, but the windows would not open no matter how hard she pulled. They rattled as if something on the other side held them shut. She found a metal chair and slammed it against the glass. It bounced back. The sound was dull, like the window had no echo, like the house swallowed all sound now. She turned back to the living room, and the girl was gone again. The fire was out, and only faint embers pulsed weakly in the ashes. Maya whispered, hello, are you hiding? Her voice sounded too small, swallowed by the silence again. She walked carefully room to room, but each one felt colder, emptier. At the end of the hallway, a door she hadn't seen before was now cracked open. There was a faint red glow spilling out onto the floor. It pulsed like a heartbeat. Her gut told her to run, but her legs kept walking. Like something pulled her forward. The room beyond was circular with red walls and symbols etched into the wood. They looked burned in, old and deep. There were dozens of candles unlit. In the center stood a small table, and on it an open book, its pages yellow and crumbling. As she stepped inside, the air felt thick, heavy, like breathing through wet cloth. She leaned closer to the book and saw names. A long list in black ink. All women, all dated. Many crossed out. Then her own name at the bottom, not crossed. Yet behind her something whispered, so soft she wasn't sure she heard it. She turned fast, but no one there. Just the candle flames now lit. Even though she had not touched them, Maya ran through the hallway past the silent fireplace. She called out to the girl again, but only her echo answered her. She reached the stairs and flew up them 2 steps at a time, hoping maybe upstairs held a window that could break, maybe a way to climb out. Upstairs had changed. Where before there were 3 rooms, now there was one long corridor that stretched too far, too long for a normal house. The wallpaper on the walls peeled and bled down like it was crying. She heard footsteps ahead, soft, barefoot. She followed them, had no choice. Her heart beat louder. Then her steps. At the end of the hall, she found a room with an open door and light inside. The girl sat on a bed holding a cracked mirror. She stared into it, not blinking, not moving. Maya stepped inside slowly. What is this place? What do you want? The girl looked up and said, it's not me, it's him. He made this. He keeps us here. Who? The girl pointed at the mirror. You'll see him soon. Like I did. The mirror began to fog from inside, not from breath, but from something behind the glass moving. Closer. Maya stepped back and the girl grabbed her wrist. He needs to be fed. That's the only way we're free. Maya pulled her hand away and stumbled back, hitting the doorframe. She turned to run, but the hallway was gone, only a wall now behind hers. She turned back and the girl was standing inches from her face. Her eyes were not gray, now they were black and deep like wells with no bottom. He's almost awake, the girl whispered. You're the last one before the new cycle. What cycle? Maya asked her, voice breaking, but the girl only tilted her head and said, you've been here before. Suddenly flashes hit Maya's mind. Images of fire, a scream, a man with hollow eyes, and her own reflection in the cracked mirror. But older. She backed into the wall, trying to breathe, trying to remember. Was this real? Was she dreaming? Had she been here in another life? Or never left? The girl smiled and held out the mirror. He's waiting. Maya shook her head and turned away. But the mirror reflected something behind her, something tall with no face and arms too long to be human. When she turned around, nothing was there, but the girl was gone again. And Maya was alone in the room, or she thought she was, until the whisper came again from inside the mirror. It said her name, the man behind the glass. Maya could not move as her name echoed from the mirror. The sound felt like ice crawling up her spine, like fingers brushing her skin without touch. She backed away, heart thudding louder than thought, trying to breathe. But the air was thick again, heavy like fog pressing against her chest. The mirror pulsed with a faint red glow, as if it breathed. And deep within it, the shadow returned. It moved slowly just behind the glass, tall, thin arms, dangling like ropes. No eyes, no mouth, just a face smooth and wrong. She turned and pounded on the wall behind her. Let me out, please. No one answered. No one ever did in this house. She looked back at the mirror and saw something different. Not her reflection, not the shadow, but the girl. Only now she was screaming, mouth wide, eyes wild, hands pressed against the other side of the glass, like she was trapped in there. Help me, please help me. The voice came not from her lips, but inside Maya's head like a memory. Screaming for attention, Maya stepped closer and reached out. The glass was cold, too cold. She touched it, and something sharp cut her finger. Blood smeared on the surface and vanished like the mirror. Drank it. The girl inside stopped screaming and just stared. Then she mouthed one word, run. The light in the room snapped out all at once. Total black. Maya's breath caught in her throat. She reached for the wall, trying to find the door, but there was only smooth wood, no handle, no frame. Then the sound. Began whispers all around her, circling, rising, falling like waves of voices, all speaking her name in different tones, some sad, some angry, some like mocking children. She dropped to the floor, covered her ears, shut her eyes. Stop, 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 then silence. And one voice, clear and low, he chose you for a reason. She opened her eyes. The room had returned, the bed, the mirror, but everything was wrong. Covered in dust and decay, as if years had passed in a blink, she ran through the door that now opened again into the hallway, but the hallway was different again. The wallpaper was peeling in strips. The floor bent and groaned under her feet like it would collapse at the end. She saw light flickering like a fire. She rushed toward it, desperate for warmth. For sense, it was the living room, but now 10 times colder than before. The fireplace was lit, but the flames were blue and unnatural, and in front of them sat the man. Not old, not young, his back turned, shoulders stiff. He wore a black coat torn at the edges, and on the floor beside him were photos, dozens of them. All the same girl, but each one with different people. She stepped closer. Who are you? Man did not turn. He spoke in a voice like gravel and glass. I built this place to keep them safe, but they never stay. They always try to run. Maya stared at the photos. She saw herself in one, holding the girl's hand, smiling. No, this is not real. This is not mine. The man turned slowly, no face, just a dark void where features should be. He stood and pointed toward the hallway. You can go, but if you leave, another takes your place. What does that mean? She asked, trembling. He stepped closer. His shape grew darker, more defined. He whispered, it means she stays if you don't. Maya looked toward the stairs, toward the room where the girl waited. She felt a pull inside, a memory that didn't belong, a voice, a promise. I'll never leave you. She turned back to the man, but he was gone. The room empty again, only the photos remained, and the blue fire fading. Maya walked slowly back upstairs. The mirror room was open again, and inside the girl sat on the floor, crying softly. Maya knelt. I remember now, I was here before. I promised to save you, but I left. The girl looked up and whispered, you came back. Suddenly, the room shuddered. The mirror cracked. A low growl echoed from deep inside it. The man was not gone. He was waking. The price of the promise. The room shook harder with each passing second. Maya grabbed the girl and held her tight as the cracked mirror began to glow with a deep red light that pulsed like a heartbeat. The walls of the house groaned like something massive moved behind them, and the floor beneath her knees felt like it was breathing. He is angry now, the girl whispered, her voice calm like she had seen this before. You woke him too early. Maya looked into the girl's eyes, saw no fear, only sadness. The same sadness she had glimpsed in her own dreams, without knowing where it came from. She stood and pulled the girl to her feet. We need to get out before he breaks through. The mirror's surface rippled like liquid, and a long black hand reached out, fingers stretching boneless and slow. Maya pulled the girl behind her and stepped back into the hallway, but it had changed again. Now it was a narrow tunnel of shifting walls, and the end could not be seen. The air smelled of rot and burnt wood. Run, she said, and they did. The girl held her hand tightly as they moved through the endless hall that twisted and bent without logic. Doors appeared on either side, slamming open and shut without anyone there. Voices whispered through the cracks. Some called her name, some begged for help, some screamed. Maya ignored them all and kept running. The hallway finally split into 2 paths. One led upward with light at the end, the other down into darkness. She hesitated. The girl said, the light leads to outside, but he will follow. And the dark? Maya asked. The girl looked down. It leads to the basement, where he was made. Maya stared at both, escape or answers. Then she looked at the girl and chose the dark. He will follow me either way, but if I understand what he is, maybe I can stop this. They stepped down into the black, each step colder than the last. The air was thick with memories and pain, not hers, others, many others. At the bottom was a heavy wooden door sealed with iron and covered in carvings. The girl placed her hand on it. It opened without sound. Inside was not a basement, but a vast stone chamber, walls covered in drawings made by hundreds of hands, some old, some new. all showing the same figure, the man with no face, standing over girls with blank eyes and broken smiles. In the center stood a well, but no water, only shadows. They swirled slowly as if alive. He was born here, the girl said softly, not from a mother, but from the pain they left behind. Maya stepped forward. Who left it? The girl walked beside her. All the ones who used us, tricked us, hurt us. Their hate made him. Their lies fed him, and now he feeds. On more, the mirror appeared beside the well, not standing, just floating. The surface shimmered. He was watching again. Maya stepped close. Why me? Why bring me here? The mirror showed her face, then her childhood, a home with fights and silence, a room where she cried alone, a hand reaching toward her in comfort, but pulling back too soon. You carry pain. He finds those who carry pain. The girl looked at her. But you are not like the others. You want to stop him. You want to heal. You remember what love was. Maya touched the edge of the mirror. Show me how to end this. The mirror cracked further. From behind her, the whispers rose again. But this time they were crying, begging, thousands of voices. She turned to the girl. What happens if I break it? The girl whispered. Then he goes back, and so do all of us. But you must stay. Maya froze. You mean I become the mirror? You become the lock. Tears rose, but she held them back. If I leave, you all suffer. If I stay, you are free. The girl nodded. You already made the promise once. You came back because you remembered. Maya stepped to the mirror, raised her hand. The girl backed away, eyes wide. He is here now. The black figure rose from the well, arms stretching, faceless head tilting toward Maya. He moved with no sound. Maya struck the mirror with her hand. It shattered, and the figure screamed without a voice. He twisted and folded into himself, pulled into the shards. The well swallowed his form piece by piece. The voices faded one by one. The room went still. The girl looked up at her. You kept the promise. Maya smiled through tears. Then the girl vanished like dust in sunlight. Maya stood alone in the chamber as the mirror reformed around her, but now it showed only peace. Final reflection. Maya stood in silence inside the stone chamber, now dim and still. The mirror in front of her no longer pulsed, no longer whispered. Its surface smooth like glass, yet deep like water, and within it her own reflection watched her, not with fear but calm. She breathed slowly, and the air no longer pressed against her chest. The walls around her seemed to breathe too, but softer, like the house was no longer angry. No more voices, no more shifting shadows, only the stillness that follows after something terrible ends. The girl was gone. Her presence had left the room like a candle blown out, but the warmth remained. Maya looked at the mirror and whispered, I am ready. The mirror did not answer, simply opened, not with a sound or movement, but with a feeling like a door that was never locked, just waiting for the right soul to enter. She stepped forward, and the world around her blurred. The stone chamber faded into mist, then into color, then into memory. She stood in the living room again, but not the one she entered before. This room was clean, warm, filled with light from morning sun. The couch had soft cushions, the fireplace burned orange and gentle. And across the room the girl stood again, only now she looked alive, healthy eyes, bright skin, glowing, a small smile on her lips. She held a drawing in her hands and showed it to Maya. It was a picture of them, both standing outside in sunlight. Maya felt tears rise again, but they did not fall. The girl stepped forward and held Maya's hand. Thank you for remembering. Thank you for not running. Then she turned and walked toward the front door, which slowly opened to a field of golden grass and open sky. She stepped through and vanished into light. Maya turned back to the mirror. It stood in the middle of the room, now quiet. She walked to it and looked in. This time she saw others, faces, girls, women, each of them smiling, each of them free. They nodded at her one by one, then faded into peace. The mirror shimmered and words appeared on its surface. One word: healed. The room shifted once more. The walls around her stretched into wood and brick. The field outside became real. The house stood alone, still. But it no longer looked haunted. Maya stepped outside barefoot onto soft ground. Birds flew overhead. Trees whispered with wind, and the sky stretched open and wide. She looked back at the house. It looked back at her, not with menace, but with memory. You kept your promise, the wind seemed to say. You ended the cycle, and then she felt it, not fear, not grief, but something. Quiet and pure, release. She walked down the path away from the house, each step lighter than the one before. And as she walked, the house faded behind her like a story closing. At the end of the path stood a small mailbox. She opened it, and inside was a note with her name. It read, "You were the last one, and the first to return with love. Rest now." She folded the paper, held it to her chest, and smiled. Somewhere far behind her, the mirror cracked for the final time and vanished. The curse was over. Forgotten were remembered, and Maya, who once came looking for a job, found her purpose. The path ahead was hers to walk free. The end.